I'm gonna miss that theme song someday. All right, welcome everybody to Bill Has Opinions, the Gen X Problem with the Drinking show. I'm Laura Lavoie, and I am, of course, joined by Bill Perkins, who has opinions. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Laura?
Well, since most of the people who watch this show are our friends, so they already know, I might as well address the issue, right? So I'm here on the show, but Dad passed away earlier today. It wasn't terribly tragic because he was 85 and we saw it coming for a long time, which is why I'm here, because I needed some cheering up and a distraction. So thanks for that.
Yeah. You've had a rough couple of weeks, sort of, between that and the sprained ankles. And then I don't know how you felt about Van Halen, but I don't know if you heard, but Eddie Van Halen passed away today also.
I did hear that, and I was definitely a fan in the 80s, but I could also imagine my father was a huge classical and opera music fan, so I can only imagine them both like in the waiting room of whatever the afterlife is. He's like, who the hell are you? What are you doing? I don't know what you play. That's ridiculous.
I bet Eddie could play. Eddie could play him some classical though.
And he was clearly a fan. He named his son Wolfgang.
Right? Yeah. No. Anyway, so I didn't want to let it pass and not address it at all in case people out there. I mean, I wanted to address your loss, but also the loss that people, if you're big Van Halen fans, are feeling. I'm not like a huge fan. I did love the early Van Halen, the David Lee Roth Van Halen. I'm a bigger fan of David Lee Roth, honestly, but obviously David Lee Roth wouldn't be anybody without Eddie Van Halen. So,
right,
there you go. That's the thing. Anyway, just wanted to mention all those things, and sorry about your dad. I know it is when somebody's old enough and you're kind of like you're resigned to it, but you still have the emotions or whatever.
Of course. But yeah, that's why I needed a good, fun distraction. So all of our viewers, which is why I wanted to mention it, because our viewers know me and they already saw the announcement. So I don't want anyone to think that, what the hell is she doing on the show today? Shouldn't she be doing something else? But
yeah.
So, well, and the best thing with grief is alcohol. So
that's right. That's why you do this, so you have an excuse. So you're not drinking alone.
I'm not drinking alone. I mean, isn't that part of it too? I don't want to belabor the whole thing, but we're in a pandemic. I don't even know what's going to happen next. I'm not even sure what we can do. And normally, you'd be around people. Like, the last time someone important died, your wife and our other friend Tammy took me out to dinner because everybody was sad. So I can't do that right now. That's not an option.
Yeah.
So what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking. I'm starting off. I've got the Highwire Bed of Nails Brown is what I'm drinking right now. I think I've mentioned in the past I'm not the hugest fan of browns. I used to like them, and they've grown sweeter as I've aged. Kind of like they almost taste too sweet, caramelly to me now. But I was lacking for having any Oktoberfest or any pumpkin beers on tap here, so I just decided to go with the darker stuff. I'm going to chase this with a Ninja Porter from Asheville Brewing Company.
Nice.
Which will be better than the brown, and no, not trying to shit on Highwire. I like a lot of their beers, but I don't love browns. That's all.
Yeah, for a brown, Highwire is probably the one I still like. Like I can still drink a Highwire. It's a well constructed beer.
Yeah, it's absolutely better than most of the browns I've drank. You're still working on Night Owl from Elysium from last week.
I was super excited. I was telling Bill that I found some more at the store. So I grabbed me another 6-pack of pumpkin, just the regular pumpkin ale. But I'm going to chase that with their Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout, which was probably my favorite from the pack. So I'm
I
gonna
like
drink
that
that.
bottle. That werewolf on that bottle is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like him. He's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, their branding is pretty cool.
Yeah. All their bottles look really neat. I actually haven't seen one that I didn't think was like flashy and neat. The label on it. You know, some breweries I really like their beers, but I don't think much of their labels. But Elysian, all their labels are cool. Even the beers I don't like, I think the labels are cool. So.
Right, exactly. And I do think that beer, the brewing of beer is an art, but the labels are also an art form, you know,
Yeah.
and you have the right combination, and I think you've got a really cool thing.
Right.
All right. So that said, let's get on to the topic of the day, which is games. So, Bill, I know you've got some opinions. Let's start off with kind of a general overview, a little monologue, if you will, about some games.
All right. So here's a funny thing. The other day, this was last week, me and my wife had gone to this place for breakfast, and it was a place that had one of those like question of the day thing. This is what actually how they used this as a way to call out your order. Like instead of calling your name, they would call out whatever. And the question was, what was your favorite game as a child?
Oh, as a child.
As a child, yes. What was your favorite childhood game? And a lot of people would say like, you know, Snakes and Ladders or you know, Candyland or something like that, Monopoly. I interpreted the question differently, and I was like hide and seek was my favorite game. I mean, and they're both games given, but I think most people interpreted it as, oh, you mean like a board game, like a Parker Brothers thing or something. And I interpreted it as any kind of game. And my favorite game as a child, and I could go for a round of it today. I could stand to play a good round of hide and seek now. It's, you know what the best thing is at night, if you're outside, if you have an area outside in the dark, you know, you and like 8 friends playing hide and seek, that's some good times.
That I can, so yes, no, this is amazing. And I think post-pandemic, after we move back, I think we organize an adult hide and seek game experience. Like, I think that would be super fun.
You should, yeah, it'd be good times. I loved hide and seek. I'm trying to think, there were other. So okay, if I'm talking about all the different genres of games, hide and seek's my first probably favorite. I don't know. Second, Nintendo 64, Mario Kart.
All right.
I played that for like 2 years straight. Every day I'd get home. If I play for an hour, just play Mario Kart for an hour, you know? Let's see. What else do I like? I'm trying to think about games I like now that we play.
We've got some fans of the adult hide and seek idea.
Yes, I'm really good at hiding. I'm very sneaky. Yeah, I was trying to think what my favorite like current tabletop game is right now. That like whenever people say, "Hey, you want to play a game?" That's your favorite. That's not my favorite.
I have it behind me. Betrayal at House on the Hill. It is a super fun game. We'll talk about it more later, but I figured rather than having a white void behind me, I would put something there. So I might as well show off my favorite game.
Gosh darn, there's a bunch of little like card games that you pull out that are quick games. I will say that I really like games that don't take too long. I'm really bad at games if they take more than 3 hours. I hated Monopoly. I always hated Monopoly. Right? I was never the kid.
I hate Monopoly.
First off, Monopoly will lose you friends, right? Like you will be angry with each other. Secondly, you can't finish that game. It's like an 8-hour game or something. Because you have to, if you play it, like if you just didn't give up, if you played it until somebody was broke and somebody was the winner, you know, until trickle down economics did their thing, and there were haves and have-nots, you know, like if you played it that way, it would take like 8 hours, and everybody would hate each other by the end of it. So nobody ever really finishes a game of Monopoly. Even if you put the board away and say we're gonna pick this up tomorrow, you never do. You're like, yeah, fuck it, I don't want to play that shit. You know, I'll tell you what's a fun. Oh, Uno. Uno is a solid one. Everybody likes Uno. Like you can bring
simple, fast-paced game.
Yes, love it. Anything that actually has that kind of play where it's like we can throw this down for 15 minutes. You know, we could go for an hour, whatever. Like those kinds of games. That's the shit I like. What's the one? Bears and Babies or something like that.
Bears versus Babies from the Oatmeal, an excellent choice.
That's a solid, good game. I like that one better than the Crabs one.
Or the Exploding Kittens.
Exploding Kittens is okay. Oh God, Millibornes. You ever played that one, Millibornes?
I'm familiar with it, but I don't think I've ever played it.
It's kind of like Exploding Kittens in a way. You have to it's a card game, but you have a race. You have a race, and you have to get so many miles to win. But then
yeah. You know, I think I have actually played that.
And you get a flat tire. Like somebody can play a flat tire on you, and it'll slow you down. You can't move until you get the spare tire card, or you're out of gas and you can't move until you get the extra can of gas card. You know, it's a very interesting game. It's a children's game, but I actually really like it because it's just I don't know. I could just play the shit out of it. No, I don't like global thermonuclear war.
No, nobody does. There's no it's not. But I do. So to your point about the worst games, and we do have a games we hate. Actually, I don't even think we do. I didn't break things down into categories like that. But games I hate, Monopoly, 100% there. Risk is the same. You can play it for like 20 hours.
That's true, yeah.
You're still playing Risk, and oh god, and the people who are insane about Risk are super insane about Risk, and you're like, really, kid, can we stop now? You win, it's fine. And then the third one, I like.
You won the World War. I can see.
It's fine. You clearly won.
A treaty that's very bad towards my country.
Exactly. But the third one I don't like, and a lot of people like it. It wasn't one I played as a kid ever. Is Ticket to Ride, and I find it very much the same. It's just putting trains and it takes forever, and I do not enjoy that.
You want to know something funny? I've noticed this. A lot of the newer games that people crow about are actually just old games that have been reskinned. Right. Everybody went ape shit over Settlers of Catan, right? Settlers of Catan. I heard nothing but good things about it. You know, Will Wheaton was carrying on. Oh, you gotta play. Everybody was like, you gotta play Settlers of Catan. It's the best game. We finally got Settlers of Catan. I put it off for years because I go to the store and it was like $50, and I was like, I'm not spending that. There's like a half a dozen games here that are $15, $35.
Right.
But that said, I bought a lot of shitty games. Bought a lot of shitty games that I didn't like, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck, I'll just spend the money. We'll get. I think it was on sale one Christmas. Last or the Christmas before, 2 Christmases ago. It was on sale like $45 or something, and I was like, okay, that's as cheap as it's gonna get. I'll buy it. So I buy Settlers of Catan. We're playing it for probably 45 minutes, and I go, you know what? This is just fucking Monopoly reskinned. It's
exactly.
It's a reskin, like medieval Monopoly is all this shit is, right? Like it's the same goddamn thing. Somebody's just hoarding all the resources.
Right. And you know what? If it takes too long to tally up the winner, like I believe a game should have a clear winner and some losers. And I don't care if it's like, I love collaborative games where you play against the game. That's fine too, because it's a clear winner. Like either we lost the game or we won the game. But I do not like it when you have to do all the math to determine who won the game. So when you have to add up all the points that people did for what, and the how many churches you built and how many roads you have and how many. I don't have time for that.
I will also say this.
Heather did at one point say she lost her husband to a game of Risk, but then corrected herself. It was actually Axes and Allies. And by lost her husband, she did find him again. It's fine. They're fine. But apparently Axis and Allies, very similar.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I can see that. I wanted to point out also another game I hate besides Monopoly from childhood. Well, not really, because I don't think I ever played it until I was 15, but Clue. I actually hate Clue. I have, and I hate it because I'm a sore loser, and I've never won a game in my life. I have never won. I'll get 2 of them right. Like I'll be like just on the verge of I've almost cracked the case, and somebody always goes in front of me and busts it open. And I've never beat Clue. And so here's the thing. Oh, my friend, I was mentioning before the show to Laura, my friend Doug, who sometimes watches. I don't know if he's watching tonight, but he should watch tonight because he's a big gamer. He's the games master in my life. Like he actually turned me on to several good games. But this one game, we played at his house, and we kind of liked it. It's called Mysterium. Have you ever played that?
Oh, yes, I played it with you guys once. That was
okay. So yeah, we played it over at Doug's the first time, and everybody really liked it. And then we played it again at our house several times. Actually, Jay bought it for us after a trip down here, as a I don't know, like a hospitality gift or something. And I appreciate it. Thank you, Jay. Except for the fact that after I played it for about the 4th time, I was like, you know what? This is just fucking Clue. It's Clue with a twist. You know what I mean? Like it's got a little something else added in, but it's basically Clue. You're solving a mystery. Mm-hmm. And you got to like line up these like 3 or 4 clues, and go, oh, so it was this guy with this thing, and he did. And I was like, man, I fucking hate Clue. And I'm not one of the stupid people either, by the way. But it did at least. It's different enough from Clue that it fooled me for about 3 plays before I realized I was playing Clue.
You got hoodwinked.
Good on you, Mysterium, for that.
So we agree on a lot of game situations, but Clue is probably like if I were to answer that question, the question of the day for what game was your favorite game as a kid, it would be Clue. And I love Clue because it's fast and I don't always win, but I enjoy playing it. And as Jay says, Mysterium is if Clue and Dixit had a baby.
Right. It is totally those 2 things. And to that end, actually, I love Dixit. I can play Dixit over and over and over again. We play the shit out of Dixit. Eventually, you have to buy more cards. You have to buy like some more. You have to buy like one of the expansions because you're tired of looking at the same pictures. But Dixit is I will say this: Dixit is a great game because it's a fun game to play. But also the pictures are just beautiful, and they're all in different art styles. And you could stare at some of them for days. They're like really interesting. They're like surrealist paintings, like a series of surrealist paintings that you're staring at. And the idea, in case anybody doesn't know out there, Dixit, the idea of the game is somebody puts down a card, and all the cards have these pictures, and they're all like I said, like these surrealist sort of dreamscape pictures. Somebody puts one down and they say something, and it's like a theme or something, and you're trying to guess what to put down. No, sorry, they don't put down a card. They just say a thing.
Say a word or a phrase.
Yeah, and then you put down a bunch of cards, and then you're supposed to try and figure out which card is the one that they were talking about. And anyway, then the points are like if you guess the right one, and then also like if other people are able to psych out other people or something like that. It's an interesting setup, but it's a cool game. I can play it over and over again, and even if I don't win that one, I actually really like it because it's always
pretty and it's fun. Well, and the scoring mechanism for that is not unlike there's a few other games where it's like that, like Apples to Apples, where you have a judge, and the judge is the person that decides what that round's answer is. Honestly, it's a lot like, and I'm about to say something that may be controversial. It's not what I'm about to say, but what I will say after that. It's a lot like Cards Against Humanity in that exactly. In that instance where you have a judge and then you have to give them cards and then they decide who wins. That's kind of how it is. But what I will say is Cards Against Humanity can fuck right off. Not only have they recently had a ton of issues with sexual harassment, discrimination in the workplace, and racial discrimination in the workplace, but also, did we not notice how fucking problematic that game was all along? It was some bullshit the whole time.
I thought it was I'm with you. I like the initial 3 gameplays of it. I probably thought, okay, it's funny, but then after a while, I realized it was a way to go. It was a way to say horrible, sexist, and racist things, and then go, "I'm just kidding," you know. And that was it was like a masked. I mean, and I get it because the game is saying basically I'm being horrible, but I don't know. It's kind of like it was totally I'm not racist, but here's my cards. You know.
Exactly. No, I played it for a little while, and well, actually, I'll say the first time I ever learned about it, it was when you could still download the cards for free online. So you downloaded them and print them out. So I did, and I remember doing that. This was ages and ages ago. I remember doing this. And as I was going through the cards, after I cut them all out, I took out the ones that are like, nope, that's racist. Nope, that's this. And I threw them away. I'm like, no. So I kind of forgot how shitty it was until I started playing the box version. And then I was like, you know what? I'm never playing this again. This is bullshit.
Yeah. You know what? That makes a pretty good point. I mean, and aside from giving them any more money, I guess the idea might be if you wanted a reasonably good Cards Against Humanity game, you could go through it and edit, throw out the cards that are really problematic for you, the ones that are homophobic.
Exactly. I wouldn't go buying it, but if you own it, go for it.
Yeah, if you own it, throw out the ones that are homophobic or sexist or racist, and play with the remaining 15 cards.
Right. Exactly. All right. So we've gone. We're gonna have to do part 2 and 7 and 8 of this one because we're nearly halfway through the show and we haven't even gotten to the station break. So
all right,
we should probably do that. And for our station break, 2 local Asheville businesses to mention. They have not asked us to mention their names. They may regret that decision. They may regret us not to talk about them because of who we are. But so I'll start. I'll go with the Wyvern's Tale in North Asheville on Merriman. It's a place for all your gaming needs. You can find games to purchase. That's where I bought this. And you can buy dice and miniatures and stuff for role-playing games, which hopefully we'll talk about this show. But I highly recommend it. We were there this summer and they were doing a really good job with pandemic precautions. So check out Wyvern's Tale if you're in Asheville, North Carolina. And Bill, you had one too.
Yeah, I wanted to mention Well Played on Wall Street in Asheville, which is it's like a little cafe, but they also have a library of games, and you can sit there and they have 2 different ways you can do it. You can actually check games out it's like a Blockbuster Video for games if you want. That's one of the you can buy a membership and you can check games out, take them home, play them, bring them back, or you can go in there and sit for a couple hours and have drinks and eat, and while you're there, you can check the games out of the library. And we've gone there a few times, and we'll play some great games. We played what was it, Secret Hitler? Was that what it was called? The one we played last time there.
Yeah,
that was
who's the fascist?
Yeah. Secret Hitler was
increasingly harder and harder these days.
Yeah, who's the fascist?
Yeah,
I don't know. Is it? They give themselves away pretty quickly, I feel like.
Fair.
Anyway, that was. Which one is this? The Night Owl or the?
Oh no, I moved on. I never talked about this one. This is the Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout. It's delicious.
Very good. Okay.
All right. Excellent.
anyway, it's a great place to go and play some games. I was reading their website earlier. Because Laura asked me were they still open, and they are open, and I think they're at half capacity. And they're currently like when you bring the games back, you can't just put them back on the shelf. You got to hand them back to them, and they go and sanitize them and all that. So they're doing their darndest. Good people. I actually Kevin Frazier, who's the owner, is I don't know if he still does. He used to work for the chamber in Asheville, but he also he's my friend Steve Bass's fraternity brother also. So
Nice.
So I know him as a friend of a friend also. So good guy. And if you want to play some games or you want to try some games out that you don't feel like spending $50 on a new board game, that's the key. Really. You go to a place like this, you play it once, and you decide, do I like it or not? And here's the thing: their staff actually knows the rules to all the games.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's easier than you having to sit down and spend 15, 20 minutes reading the directions on a new game, which is always the hindrance to me. I usually only buy a game if I played at a friend's house first. And I'm like, oh, I like that game. Let's go buy it. Now I already know how to play it. You know what I mean? Like most of the time it's like word of mouth. Like you have to pass the game on to somebody else.
Yeah.
But if you want to try something you've heard about maybe from other people but you've never played, go to and I know everybody's not from Asheville, so your town might have a place like this. I don't know if you do or not, but if you have like a gaming, I don't know, a gaming cafe or just a gaming library or something like that, go check that kind of thing out. Throw them a bone too, because they're probably struggling and you're stuck at home, so you might as well game. That's my advice to you. That's my station break.
Exactly. All right, fair. So that is a station break, and I don't know some other advice from Bill. We don't have that segment, but we'll take it. So all right, I've got a whole list of games. So I will put a whole list of topics, and we're never going to get to all of them. And so you mentioned playground games, and specifically hide and seek.
Hide and seek was
Are there other playground games that you loved?
Freeze tag. Red Rover, pretty good game. Dodgeball, that's actually controversial. Some people like it, some people hate it.
I hate dodgeball, but I was literally the stereotypical nerdy kid, like that's in the movies, with the thick Cortado glasses and stringy hair and freckles and like cowering from the ball as it gets bonked at their head. That was me.
See.
Still me.
Yeah. Trying to remember what else there was. Those are the ones I remember the most: freeze tag and dodgeball and Red Rover. Do you know any other playground games that were popular?
Well, the popular one, I don't know if it was popular everywhere or if this was a Michigan thing, but one of them was Foursquare, where you stood in 4 squares and threw a ball at each other. And honestly, I don't remember the point of it. And hopscotch was the other big. I have no idea. Okay. Hopscotch.
I remember girls playing hopscotch on the sidewalk. That one actually so TV and movies made that one look like it was fun, but I don't think it's a fun game.
It's not really. But it is. The other day, we were walking down somewhere here in Decatur. Not the other day, probably about a month or so ago. And we were walking somewhere, and someone had drawn a chalk hopscotch on just the sidewalk, like the city sidewalk. And I'm like, hey, look, it's hopscotch. And Matt's like, I do not understand how to play the hopscotch. Like, what do you even do? You have a rock, and you toss it, and then you have to, you 1 foot. So, like, there's a series, like 2 squares, then 1 square, then 1 square, then 2 squares. And you have to go, so only 1 foot can hit each square each time. So you start with both feet and then 1 foot, 1 foot. So you hop, and wherever that rock is, you can't go there. So then you have to figure out how to hop around it. So, which can get tricky. And, it's not that fun, to be honest. It really isn't.
That's what I'm saying. I think the setup for it is it looks more fun than it is. It's one of those. It's like Monopoly. Like Monopoly, because Monopoly's got all the cute little pieces. Like you got the dog and the car and the hat, and you're like, oh shit, that looks like a fun game. And it's not a fun game. And neither is Mousetrap. Mousetrap sucks ass. It looked fun in the commercial.
I remember Mousetrap.
You thought it was so fun, but it's not a fun game. It's not. You know
I remember what is fun? No, I was going to say real quick, this is back to board games, but it was childhood. So we had a bunch of boards. So mind you, I was born in the 70s, but my sister was born in the 60s. My brother at the end of the 60s. So a lot of the games we had growing up were not new 1975 games, or much less 1980 games or 85 games by the time I started playing games. So I had all these old ass games that like my sister played and stuff. So Heather mentioned earlier that one of her favorite games as a kid was Life, the game of Life, which was also one of my favorite games, but we had the old ass board, like the original board, where you won if you made $25,000 a year and had 750 children. So it was just different. And like you were never a woman. Like you couldn't be a doctor and be a woman.
So I actually like Life also. It was one of my favorite games when I was a child. And I was talking to someone last night about how cockamamie that fucking game is, like by today's standards, because you always wanted to be the doctor because the doctor got the most pay. Like it wasn't ever about what you really like, what your dreams were. It was like, I just want to get the most money.
So it's teaching us to abandon our dreams and make the most money.
It really was. It was, yeah. It's like, you know what? So I was talking last night with a friend about making like rewriting life for nowadays. And it would be like, you know, like so you choose the doctor thing, but then it's like saddled with student loan debt.
Right. Exactly.
Give back $1 million. You know?
Right. And I would be like, can I take the freelancer path? I might make less money, but I'm gonna be happier. Like, can I do that?
Yeah, like for just a tiny home, right? Like like because that was the thing. It was like it would tell you like what size house you were gonna have and how many kids you had and all this shit. And it'd be like, yeah, you like, but you should be like, you know, accidentally pregnant, wah, give up this much money, you know, like, or you know what I'm saying? Like it should be like, you know, you're. I feel like bankruptcy maybe is a pitfall, but it never had like divorce or any of the, you know, like there's some like real fucking shit that happens in your life that it should have in there. Like it should be like divorce, lose half of everything. You know, like.
I like Heather's suggestions, the Insta famous, but specifically the oops, he fell in a hot spring taking a selfie. That is very much life of 20, especially 2020. Like I think 2020 life would have a whole other set of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
Medical expenses, you lose all your money.
Exactly. All right. So the next category we mentioned was party games. So I neglected to include this on our original outline that I sent to you. And you're like, but we got to do party games. So tell me, Bill, what are your favorite party games?
Scavenger hunt. Obviously.
That's a good game because it's all ages, right? That's the word. I can't quite think of the word I'm looking for because everybody can play. You can do a children's scavenger hunt, right? You know, your little kid or you as a little kid, you can have that. But then as an adult, scavenger hunts are fucking awesome.
I'll say this. One time I went on one time years ago, what was this? It was like late 80s, early 90s. I did a sound scavenger hunt, and you were supposed to take it, like you had a tape recorder, and you had to go around and record like this many sounds. And I remember one of the sounds was the fire engine, and we actually drove to the firehouse and asked them to fire up the siren for us. And they were all on. They're like, you know, firemen are pretty cool. They'll like if you ask them for a favor, they'll do you a favor, you know.
Exactly. And well, if they're not doing it, they're like, sorry, had to do a fire, can't do it. But
if they had to do a fire, you can stand right there and take the siren in.
But otherwise, literally, the job of a firefighter is to wait. That's their job. They wait.
Right. So they were bored as shit, and they're happy to fire up the siren for you. Is what I'm saying.
And Heather brings up another. I do want to address the scavenger hunt situation, but Heather brings up another one that's a great party game: the murder mystery parties.
Right.
We were talking before the show because you remember the murder mystery parties. Oh yeah, an escape room. I sounded like Heather when I said, "Oh yeah, an escape room." Heather. Oh yeah. So do you remember the murder parties in a box that were especially big, like in the mid '90s?
I played many of them.
Oh yeah, they were so much fun. But I do want to address the scavenger hunt. A bunch of years ago, the first time we lived in Atlanta, the guy that played bass in Matt's band, he invited us on a citywide scavenger hunt in downtown Atlanta. And we had our little team, and then we, at the end, so you went around, everything was pictures, because that was really the beginning of like the, digital picture thing. So you had to take pictures of all these things. In the end, you ended up at a popular bar, I don't remember where it was, for a trivia contest. So you had to win both parts to win. And the trivia contest was music only. So we half-assed the pictures, but we had a ton of fun driving around. Like I remember at one point we had to go somewhere to a specific bar to get a specific picture, but then we're like, let's have a drink. Like, so we probably spent a half an hour not doing any of the clues because we all had a drink. So we were fine. But then we get back, and our team, but I remember me in particular, aced the music trivia quiz, but we didn't do well enough on the pictures to have placed at all. But I was like, God damn it, I would have won if it were just trivia.
Right. We did. I can't remember whose birthday it was, but we did one of those in Nashville too.
We did. It was Ian's birthday.
Oh, it was Ian's birthday. That's right. Okay.
We got so drunk.
Yeah, it was because it was all like bar hopping, scavenger hunt, and most people just like got sidetracked and just wound up drinking and not doing jack for the whole thing.
Yes, but if you remember correctly, we got extra bonus points. I don't remember who won, but we got extra bonus points because Emily, your lovely wife Emily, and I are rule followers. So we followed clues to the T. Like if it told us to do a thing, we did exactly that thing. Which when we got back, that they were like, "But we didn't really mean it literally." And we're like, "You can't tell us that. Like, that's how we're gonna do it." That's insane. But I specifically remember that scavenger hunt. It was so much fun. But it was also the same day that my BFF Jill got married. And of course, I wasn't there because she was in Michigan and we were in Asheville. And she had a really small wedding. It was at a brewery and it was just her family, their family. And but I remember one of the questions was call up a friend and sing "That's What Friends Are For." And I'm like, it's Jill's wedding. We should call her. And we were wasted. And we called her at her wedding to sing "That's What Friends Are For" to her.
Yes.
That was good times.
Good time.
Good times. All right. Let's see. I don't know if I should skip over because I'm afraid that we might have to do so I'm gonna mention what we have left on the list. We have video games, role-playing games, mobile platform games like Pokemon Go, online role-playing games, and board games. So here's the thing, I'm gonna give you a choice, Bill Perkins. So because we still got time. We've got some time, we can hit one or two of these.
Yeah. But let's do video games and role-playing games and see what we have left.
Because we could always do a whole board game episode. I'm sure. Plus, we've also talked about a lot of board games.
We've talked about board games a lot. So, yeah, let's just move on to those. Video games.
Video games. So, what are your favorite?
Video games? I actually am not the kind of person who will sit and play video games by myself. I do them as a social activity. So I mostly like video games that have a multiplayer aspect, i.e., Mario Kart is my favorite video game. After Mario Kart, let's see. I loved Halo, the first Halo, but I like to play it cooperatively with a friend, and I like to play it with a friend in the room. I'm not an online player. I'm the kind of person where I'll come over to your house and sit there on the couch with you and play the video game. The only online game I ever mildly enjoyed, I played Overwatch for about 6 months with my son because my son does not live with me. He lives with his mother. So it was a thing that he was into, and I started playing it. And Overwatch, I will say this about Overwatch. And I don't know if it's still a thing. Maybe it's still a thing, and maybe it's not. I don't know. But what I liked about it.
I can tell you because Matt plays obsessively.
Okay, so 2 things I like about Overwatch, actually. I was going to say one thing, but there's 2 things I like about it. One, it kind of levels the playing field. You have to have a party made up of several different people in order to win. And because of that, every type of character has a counter. So nobody's overpowered for the most part. Sometimes they are when they roll something out new. Like they'll roll out a new character, and that character will be a little overpowered for maybe like a month. But then they get the feedback, and they're like, okay, shit, and they change it, and they work it out so that everything's kind of equal. So I like that about it. Secondly, the other thing I really loved about Overwatch, representation in Overwatch is really good. They have characters. They have characters from all over the world. They have characters that are LGBTQ. They have characters that are different ages. So whoever you are, whatever you are, there is a character you identify with. You will find somebody in that thing to pick, and you'll go, oh, this actually makes me feel like, comfortable playing this character. And I like that about it a lot. That they just gave a lot of thought to that. I know there's people out there who are always like, oh, this is just them being like social justice warriors or whatever the fuck. Get out of here with that shit. It matters. It matters that there are characters on the screen that look like you. I mean, so here's the thing. I mean, I usually played the one that was like the 50-year-old, white dude. Now it turns out they retconned him. They retconned him 3 seasons in or something and decided he was gay. Whatever. I don't give a shit. It's fine. I'm comfortable enough in my masculinity. I don't give a shit if that character's gay. It's fine. He's a character. He was basically like a mix of Captain America and Batman, and he was a really cool character called Soldier 76. That was the one that's the character I identified with. It wasn't the character I was best at. I was best at either Bastion, who was just this robot that could turn into a turret gun. I could wipe the fucking board with people as Bastion. Secondly, I was pretty good at Junkrat, who was this like crazed meth head Australian dude who just threw bombs at people. I was pretty good at that one too. So anyway.
So this is legit. So Overwatch, of course, being an online video game, you do have to deal with a 13-year-old that complain, about your mother. But it is fun.
It wasn't like playing Halo online because that one didn't have like a leveling kind of thing, and you just you would just get into a game and the 12-year-old would hand you your ass and then they would be like pawned and you'd be like, God damn it, it was different. I felt like Overwatch because Overwatch also had a thing where like you would get put in a league with people who are about at your level also. Like it would watch your stats and it would put you into an area where you could excel. So you didn't get frustrated with it. So that's what I got to say about Overwatch, which was the only online game experience that I ever enjoyed. I've never been a World of Warcraft or what was the thing before World of Warcraft? I can't even remember now.
There was Diablo.
There was another one. Jesus, there was another thing that was just like World of Warcraft, but the graphics weren't as good. But it was like a medieval role playing.
The thing I played, I think it was at the same time as World of Warcraft, but it was the one I played was Lord of the Rings Online. But I will tell you the only reason it was purely social, and it was like I could care less what my character did. When we were playing it, we would play online with friends from all over the country. We have a friend. He's in Seattle now, but he was living in Atlanta. Our friend BJ from Michigan. Our friend Dan, who used to live in Michigan, now lives in Austin. Like we had our little party, and we would go because you form your little party with all your little people, and then you go on and you do the quests. It's very similar to World of Warcraft in that instance. But I didn't play to role play. Like, I could care less who I was or what I did. I played to do something fun with friends that I didn't see all the time. And like from that, like our friend Droid, who, and I mean, his name's not legit Droid. He was not, his mommy didn't name him Droid, but Droid, now he is friends with BJ and Dan, and it was entirely because we played this game online. But he's never met them. Well, he met Dan a couple of times, but he had never met them. All right, and Jay says the game that in question was EverQuest, and that is in fact.
Yes, EverQuest. That was the one.
Yep, and Heather, I played Lord of the Rings online for the same reason. Help people out, run around, visit folks, but you know, we had our group and that was it. Like, we didn't play with other people. Why would we do that?
You know what one of the funny things to me about MMORPGs is, so, and I'm speaking mostly from the experience with, so my ex-wife got massively into EverQuest and then moved from EverQuest to World of Warcraft, but then it sucked up like she became like one of those people who was like an addict. Like, she would spend 8 hours an evening. Like, she would just be, immersed in this thing. And I would come in sometimes and I'd ask her, "What are you doing?" And she'd go, "Well, I got to go over here and I got to get like 18 rabbit hides." And I'm like, "Why do you got to get 18 rabbit hides?" She go, "Well, I got to take them to this guy so I can trade them for this." And I'm like, "Why do you got to get that?" And she's like, "Well, I got to take that to the Fletcher so he can make me some arrows." And I'm like, "Why do you need this arrow?" And she's like, "So I can do this other thing." And I'd be like, "You know what this sounds like? It sounds like running errands." Like I'm like, "I got an idea. If you like running errands so much, why don't you do the paying the bills quest?" Why don't you do the washing the dishes quest?
Exactly. 100% exactly.
Some of the stuff in these games is so mundane, but you're just doing a virtual version of this mundane bullshit that you would do in your regular life. And you're like, woo, but you get like some sort of serotonin rush from doing it online, that you don't get from doing it in real life, right? Like, you don't get the reward. Nobody gives you 2 gold pieces for finishing the dishes.
Although they should. And bring it back around. My father used to give me money for doing the dishes. So, sometimes you do get gold pieces. I don't anymore. No one gives me gold anymore. Well, it wasn't gold. It was like $4 or $1. But still. So video games, I admit video games are not among my favorite pastime. They never have been. I like arcade games. You can get me to an arcade and I'll play skee-ball all day long. I suck at it, but I'll play it. And I love like skee-ball.
Yeah, I love skee-ball too, actually. That's a really good game. And I like, I'm trying to think, I can play a round or 2 of air hockey and enjoy that.
Yes.
Let's see, what else? Yeah, I like the games that actually like require a little bit of like physical actual movement. Oh man! So while we're talking about games, I guess we could talk about like, I don't know. Do games in sports? Is there overlap? Is there a Venn diagram here of like so?
I would
a game or a sport?
Well, that's the point. I believe it's just, so there are 2 categories of sports. So, right, there are sports you do and there are sports you watch. Like, I will never in my entire life play football, but I watch it. Yeah. Personally, because I would get smooshed and it would be painful, and I'm never going to play that. And hey, Jill's here. She loves herself some pinball, and I agree. Ooh, that's actually Heather's plug for the Astro. The comments are coming. They're coming fast and furious.
Oh, yeah, I love pinball too, actually. And I'm not any good at it. I feel like I'm good at it, but then so this is funny. Emily's dad, he's actually like, he can mop the floor with you at pinball or pool, one or the other, either one of those 2 things. Like, this is funny. One I think it was Riley's birthday one year. Riley's my stepson. He's now what is he, 16? But anyway, we went to the Asheville Pinball Museum for his birthday one year, and my father-in-law went, and my wife's uncle also went. And my wife's uncle, he thinks he likes pinball a lot. Like, I think he thinks of pinball fondly, and he thought he was pretty good at it. But he got there, and as I recall, Emily's dad mopped the floor with everybody, high scored all the machines. Apparently, he used to ditch school and just go play pinball.
Nice.
That was all of high school. That's all he did. He was a preacher's kid, and so obviously he's naturally bad and predisposed to evil. So he would skip school and go play pinball all day, and he got really damn good at it. And he could just mop the floor with you at any of these pinball machines. I like pinball machines because they're I like watching the whole. I don't know. It's like a show. You know what I'm saying? Like they just, especially the more elaborate they are, they just do all the things, and they put on a performance. And whether or not you win the game, you're still like, damn, that was fun. I made all those noises and it did the things. And
yeah, no, that's exactly it. That's why I enjoy pinball. It's not necessarily to win. I don't play to win at all. I just play to, tap the buttons and watch the ball go around, and see lights light up. I don't care what happens at the end. I do not.
Woo! Yeah, look, lights and balls and things.
No, that's the only reason I play. And I think so. It's interesting that it took me 51 minutes of the show to get here. But here's the thing with me and games is that I'm not overly competitive. I don't care if I win anything. I just enjoy the playing. So, like a Monopoly, I don't enjoy the playing because it's long and dumb and it's stupid. And I don't care who wins because it's boring. But if you can give me a pinball game and it's just fun and it's a collaborative game, I enjoy that. I like 2-player fighting games at the arcade or on controllers or on only because I would just mash buttons until somebody died. It didn't matter. I'm like,
same. I'm the same way. Yeah, like Mortal Kombat or something. Yeah, it's just mashing buttons. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. It's like the only one I ever got good at was Smash Brothers also on Nintendo 64. I did actually know the secret moves on Smash Brothers. I could whip your ass if I was Pikachu, or if I was Star Fox, or hold on, I think I had a third character I was good at. Those are the two I can remember. Star Fox and Pikachu. What else was I good at?
mm-hmm.
Anyway, I was good at those two. Let's pretend I was good at a third one. I don't remember which one. But I loved Smash Brothers. That's a fun game. And it mixes it up. It puts different obstacles and it drops things that you can grab and beat people with. And
Right. So fun fact that Matt and my first date, which was in the Stone Ages, as it were, we went to an arcade. That was our first date. So we went to an Irish Mexican restaurant, which I don't know why we didn't think that was a problem. It was called Carlos Murphy's. And it was exactly what you imagined. You could get nachos or fish and chips. But either way, it was weird, and it doesn't exist anymore.
Probably a Guinness in a glass this big.
Exactly. But we went to an arcade, and we were friends before we started dating, but this was our very first date. And we played the 2-player fighting X-Men game. And, hey, shout out to Carlos Murphy's. Thank you, Jill Value. You remember it because we went to college in the same town. But we played the X-Men fighting game. And specifically, I remember I played Psylocke, which my knowledge of the X-Men came from the 90s cartoons, so I didn't even know who the hell Psylocke was. But she had sweet moves, and I kicked Matt's ass, but I kicked his ass at mashing buttons. I didn't have any control over what I was doing. I just kept hitting buttons until he died.
That was Wolverine, right?
Usually, I don't remember, but I imagine in my brain it was. That's how it works.
Okay.
But, all right, we are literally getting super close to the end of the show. You mentioned role-playing games, and we talked about it a little bit, but do you have any specifics you want to talk about role-playing games?
I just want to talk about them in general. So I'm not a big fan, really. And the reason is, did I mention this already? But I don't have a very long attention span. So I don't like, I said I don't like Monopoly because it goes on too long. Well, so the same thing happens with role-playing games, right? They take hours or days or whatever the hell they take, right?
Yeah.
Weeks, months, years.
You can do a campaign forever.
Yeah. Well, and and I'm okay with I'm okay with that, like showing up every week and playing for X number of hours, but the X number of hours needs to be like 2.5. That's that. That's like my hard cutoff, right?
Yes, and it never was. When I played in college, like we would play from 8 o'clock at night until 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, this is too much.
No, that's what happens to me every time. It's like people want to go to like 2 a.m, and I'm like, dude, no, I got like things to do. Like this is not my life. I don't do this. So
yeah,
that part of it just makes me not give a shit. Like I don't want to play because I don't want to get involved. Like it seems like a huge time commitment. So somebody's like, hey, you want to play D&D? And I'm like, no, I do not. And I'll tell you why. I got other things to do with my life.
No, I hear you. And I played a lot of D&D in college. In fact, that's actually one of the ways Matt and I met. And he didn't even like me because I was the big whiny baby that, like, at midnight, I was like, can we fucking stop? Because this is awful and I just want to go to bed. And everybody was like, oh my God, Laura is such a crybaby. And I'm like, I don't care. Just, I want to go to bed. Like, I'll take that. I will fall on that sword. Just let me go to sleep.
Yes, exactly. I've actually like, there have been role-playing games where I actually just like killed my character off at 1:30 in the morning because I just wanted to fucking go to bed, right? Like I did something I knew wasn't a smart idea, rolled a 1 and fuck it all. I don't give a shit. I'm out of here. Good day. I'm going to bed.
No, the one time that it worked for me, the time I played the longest was I lived in a house in college with a bunch of our friends, the aforementioned BJ. And so we were all friends, and one of the girls we lived with, her boyfriend, would come in almost every weekend from where they were from, and he would DM for us. And I was fine with that because I lived in that house. Like at some point I could say, okay, bye y'all, I'm going to bed. You all do what you want. My character's going to sleep. Goodbye. And it was fun, but I can't do that now. But I did mention to you earlier before the show that I played, Matt and I played a role-playing game with some friends this summer. And first of all, we had a great DM who was like, this is it. This is the whole story. That's as far as we're going. And it was fine because he kept it real short. And it was it didn't go very long at all. But also the new version of D&D versus when we were playing like advanced D&D, like the original advanced D&D, because we're Gen Xers. The new version is super simple. Like it's much more simplified as far as the math, the dice rolling, and all the requirements and stuff. It's way better.
Huh. Okay. I spent some time. I was just gonna say I spent some time during the summer. Was it the summer? No, it's probably early spring. But the beginning of the pandemic, I spent some time. My wife was DMing a game for my son and me and some other people. And I actually, I get the best shot, but I never could really get into it. And she finally got fed up because I guess there are people who actually like when they're doing D&D, they actually are in character. They're like really role playing. And me, I'm like, nah, I don't do that either. I'm like, I go into the tavern. Like I'm not like I go into the tavern and have a drink.
Yeah.
There were people we played with who were like they were that person, like who have like a voice and everything. Oh yeah, I think Jay was actually playing with us too. Actually, I can't remember who I was on the.
I believe that's true. All right, so we're gonna have to do a whole board game episode in the future because we are out of time. So normally at this point, I would mailbag. We don't have any fucking mailbag. Send us some goddamn questions. I don't care. Just send us something. Tell us we suck. I don't care. Do it.
Things that are
3 of you watching. Tell your friends.
Tonight, are we doing things that are extra?
Yes, we are. I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. Beanie weenies. Things that are extra. Beanie weenies.
No. Wait.
What?
Wait.
Oh, you're still talking.
I have not finished my thought. So mailbag though, I want people out there, tell your friends to send us hateful messages even if they never read the show, because we just want something to read on the air. All right.
Yeah.
Things that are extra. Go for it. Bill.
Beanie Weenies, they only come in a can this big. It's like the little kids serving can. I don't know why. Like I've been on this jag for the last like 3 weeks where I've really been craving Beanie Weenies, and I'll go to the store to buy them, and I'm like, but I'm an adult human, so I want like a full size like a 12-ounce can of Beanie Weenies, right?
Right.
But you can only get them in the little like whatever this can is with the
Baby
like
food jar.
the baby food jar size. So I had to buy 2 of them every time I want Beanie Weenies, and it's just like ridiculous. Like I swear they used to come in a bigger can. I feel like what if you had more than one kid? What if you were feeding like a few kids Beanie Weenies? Well, what do you got to do? You got to buy like 8 or 9 of those cans and dump them all in a pot. Anyway, it's just ridiculous. I don't know. Like van camps, you guys need to make a bigger can.
I would like to point out, you said, didn't they used to come in a bigger can? I would argue that we used to be smaller. So we felt like the can was bigger when we were children.
But I'm just saying, like, what if you had siblings? Like, what if as a parent you're feeding 4 children, you can't serve them that tiny can of Beanie Weenies? That's ridiculous. Like, you're going to want a bigger can of Beanie Weenies. I don't know. Like, I get it from the standpoint of, yes, if you're feeding 1 child, that's enough Beanie Weenies. But what if you're feeding an adult Beanie Weenie? Or is like the assumption here is that adults don't eat Beanie Weenies, I presume.
That is, I believe.
Well, I've been on a craving for them lately. I've had them for at least 3 meals in the last couple of weeks. So I don't know. Get with the program and make a bigger can of them is what I'm saying.
All right, and Heather's going to send us some mailbag notes, so it'll be confusing and thrilling, or maybe she'll just ask us a question. So we're gonna take you up on that, Heather. You've got to send us something. Email me, my email, message us, whatever you want. Send us weird things. Like, we're fine with that.
Yeah. No, ask us a crazy question that comes from out of nowhere, and we're like, all right.
Completely. All right. I want to say before you close the show, Bill, this has been exactly the medicine I needed. This was super fun, and I'm very, very glad that we did this. And as far as I know, we'll be back to do it next week, but I will keep everybody in the loop. But I don't want to miss the next few weeks because we are diving into spooky season from here.
She's planned a hot schedule of great shows, so you guys are going to want to tune into these.
We will. And Halloween's my favorite, so how can I miss that? So right. All right, Bill, take us away. Close out the show.
Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are those of Bill and Bill alone, except for the ones that Laura shakes her head in agreement with, in which case then she probably shares them, and vice versa with Bill. And Laura's opinions, I guess, are just hers, the ones that Bill doesn't agree with. I don't know. She likes Clue and Bill doesn't. There you
go. The friendship may never be the same.
I'll still play it. I just don't love it. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.